Okay, what's this channel about? These are all initial plans and musings, and they can change and evolve as time goes by. If judging from past experience from my other channel, not everyone will watch this entire video. So let's try to get to the most important stuff up front. First and foremost, yes, I know that I need a new microphone. Oh, this one's bad, I know, I'm working on it. Still might be a few more videos of my old one, but it's on the list. I currently use free AI images, but I'm considering using paid apps pretty soon to hopefully better represent images that I want represented. I would like to be able to represent a particular character without the character constantly changing appearance. I also might start using new editing software as well, but it's less likely because I'm quite familiar with the Adobe Premiere and should maybe try to master that more. I don't know. I do expect actual video in the future, at least in some circumstances, instead of just still images. I've considered also panning slowly over the images, as a lot of creators do that, maybe even most. But the perfectly still images don't bother me. Some things are just a bit up in the air for the future about all that. This channel is primarily horror related, but there will be some comedy as well. Let's say 80 to 90% horror and 10 to 20% comedy. As you might be able to tell, it will mostly be classic horror that's in public domain. So let's say 70 to 80% classic horror, probably less than 10% contemporary horror, as I need to get permission to do that from the writers, right? And so the writers will not be as well known to you, probably. I try to keep my videos under 20 minutes. That didn't quite happen with the Monkey's Paw. It was only slightly over, and I decided not to break it up into 2 parts. I have to admit that I'm a bit concerned with doing any more of the opposite effect. As it continues, it'll be less YouTube friendly, so still thinking about that. The Mask of the Red Death is my least favorite video that I've done. I spent over 70 hours on it for various reasons, and I'm least impressed with it. That included the arduous task of moving images from my phone to the computer, and I collected most of the images based on my memory of the story, before actually reading it. It was just a mess for multiple reasons, and I do intend to redo it if I reach 100 videos at some point. As of right now, it takes me about 2 days to do a 10-minute video. Most of the time is taken up by downloading the images. AI doesn't always do exactly what I want it to do, and I end up wasting over 90% of the images that I create. Some of them I throw at the end of the video, but most I don't even save them. I just don't like them, so I don't use them. The closer the video gets to 20 minutes, the more likely it'll take me 3 or 4 days. I will definitely continue to do more Poe, Lovecraft, Beers, etc. However, I also want to at least represent once some other writers and or stories from other great authors. A Rose for Emily from Faulkner will fit nicely on this channel. I can maybe get away with Jack London's To Build a Fire too. Not really horror, but maybe one can argue it as such. There's even some Dickens and Twain I could use that could loosely be shoved into horror. However, what about Steinbeck or Hemingway? Those would be more difficult, but I want to represent them at least once, so it might have to be not horror. At least I mostly just categorize stories as comedy or tragedy anyway. My humor is a little weird, let's say R-rated. Can clean comedy still be funny? Sure, but I really like sex and potty humor, so that's probably mostly what will pass for comedy here. I'm not afraid of nudity all nor violence, so long as it's simulated and not real. Look, this channel ain't for kids. I never claimed it was. So it's for mature audiences anyway. Yeah, a lot of stuff is not YouTube friendly, so maybe I'll get a subscribe star or something like that. We'll see. But there will be a lot of heavily edited stuff as I want them created the way I want them created. Then I worry myself with the availability on YouTube. If the channel continues for a time, I intend to do some live action stuff. But the channel really needs to make money for that to happen. I wouldn't ask actors to work for free. I also have to have a reason that I'm using a GoPro quite poorly, written into the story itself to explain why it's the way it is. Probably found footage type reasoning for horror, cheap ass reasons for comedy. I do not do porn, so any sex in live action will be simulated, but there may be nudity, of course heavily edited for YouTube, and actors will probably want to be paid more for that sort of thing anyway. Look, it might be like old school rated R horror stuff or comedy stuff. Violence will of course probably be very bad practical effects, but what can you do? This is all hypothetical at this point, and it should be a long time before I do any live action, if I ever do it. YouTube really annoys me. You can Currently, until they change it, say fuck and shit. But they don't like words like rape, kill, gun, and other nonsense. This bothers me on a personal level that's unrelated to video creation as well. Assault already has a definition, and it does not mean rape, so it annoys me when people use that word. Pew pew and unalive are stupid words to use instead of gun and kill. I find this all ridiculous that words that are acceptable on network television and have been acceptable for decades are disallowed here. It annoys me to no end. So I might get some age-restricted stuff now and again for that idiocy. I'm surprised they let Dagon slide due to the suicide at the end, but that particular word wasn't mentioned. So maybe that's it. And because I've used these words here, this particular video could get age-restricted. We'll see. There's probably some other stuff I could mention, including defending Guy de Maupassant's The Diary of a Madman, that many people to this day still think is too sick and twisted. But I don't want this to go on too long. The vast majority of views have not made it half this far in other videos, so at least on my other channel. So thanks for watching. It's appreciated. Goodbye.